today's live. How are you guys? I'm actually recording this for the podcast and I am recording on YouTube and on TikTok so that it just is connected all at once and I don't have to send it over to my marketing team and then the whole nine yards. Before I get started, please let me know on TikTok if you can hear me. If this is the first time joining, hello, hello. I'm very excited that you're here. Welcome. My intention today is that first, let me see. Can you hear me correctly? Because my mic, let's see. There we go. Can you hear me now? Because my mic was on red. So I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. How are you guys doing? Can you guys hear me? I don't know. I can't see anyone responding. Yes? Please let me know if you can hear me. I know that on YouTube you can hear me because I can see the little voice. Can you guys hear me? Can someone comment in the can you guys hear me? I'm not sure. Let's see. Please let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, I think you guys should be able. No? Can you hear me now? Hold on 1 second. Yes? Can you guys hear me? Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm coming on because I think that one of the main stagnants, one of the main things that keep us stuck is imposter syndrome. And I know that there is so much information on it. And my idea of coming on here today, if you have never been on one of my lives, welcome. My name is Vanessa. I'm the founder of Prospera Mama, and I teach women how to grow their business using energetics, so neuroscience and the connection with the body, so that it makes it easier. And one of the main things that women struggle with in business is imposter syndrome. And I want you to know that there's a connection in your brain, and imposter syndrome is not something that you develop usually at an older age. It's something that is based on the beliefs that you grew up with, right? And we already know that your beliefs are formed from 0 to 7 years old, and they are formed by figures of authority, people that you had to look up to, whether it was your parents, caretakers, teachers. That's why it's so important what our child listens to and who talks to them, because really they have, at that age, none of us have developed what is our conscious awareness. Our brain is actually in lower brain waves, which means that whatever anybody else tells us at that age, we receive it. We have no filter. There's no filter there. So we take it as something to be true. And the crucial part here is that when we are going to step into entrepreneurship, or especially for service providers, because we have something that we have mistaken something, and it is that we think that if I sell a service, I am selling myself, meaning the person is going to judge me. And imposter syndrome is completely tied to self-worth. And the reason why I wanted to share this is because in the neurochakra course, for me as a coach, one of the most important things was that my clients had results. And the reason for that is because I was burnt out many times by coaches that I paid a lot of money to, and I didn't get the results that I was expecting. And I'm not blaming anybody. I see that as learning experiences, right? But it was very important on a personal level that whoever I was coaching was somebody that after I finished the work with them, or after we finished working together, they would have the tools that when they felt stuck, or when they felt overwhelmed, or when they felt out of alignment, they would be able to go back and realign themselves, right? I think that that's what self-empowerment is. And it's not about being codependent, but it's about having the tools that you need in order for you to advance in life. So when in my most recent round of the neurochakra course, one of the biggest things that made a difference was explaining, because listen, knowing is not enough. So knowing is the part that takes care of your intellectual, right? Your brain. Because when you learn something new, your brain makes new connections. And how cool is it that we can grow up with all of these beliefs, right? That affect our confidence, that affect our communication, that affect the way that we perceive ourselves. And that obviously is transferred to the way that we talk, the way that we show up, our presence, right? That's not something that you can buy outside of yourself. That's something that you generate from within. And once we understand that the way that we act and the way that we think forms our personality, and that is just the energy that we emit, right? Those are the thoughts that carry the electrical impulse and the feelings that carry the magnetism. And that is very important for you to understand, when am I acting out of self worth and when am I not? Because when you understand that, then you have a course to correct, right? You're like, okay, if this person that I am envisioning becoming acts and thinks in a certain way, and I'm not doing that right now, there's no judgment. It's just a form of course correction, right? So when you understand your self worth, where it comes from, that it's something, it's innate in you, it's not something that you get from external sources, then you're able to change the way that you think, and the awareness of how you increase your self worth is something that stays with you. One of the best things for you to know if your self worth is strong or not is if you keep your word to yourself. And this was something that I had to learn at an older age, right? When we don't keep our word to ourselves in any aspect of our life, our self worth is diminished. And you know what that means internally or unconsciously? It means I don't believe that I can see something through. I don't believe that I am enough to achieve X, Y, and Z goal. Um, Another thing, the second part is, am I constantly concerned with what my neighbor says, my mom says, my dad says, my husband says, my friends, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? When we know, and there's no judgment, but when we become aware, okay, I'm really not keeping my word to myself. And look, in business or in my line of work, makes sense. Yeah, it does. And it's so cool because these are concepts that you can put into practice today and you can see a change today. Because when you keep your word to yourself, you release dopamine in the brain. And your body receives that dopamine, that chemical, as I want more of it. And you know what happens? Different compartments in the brain start activating. And you know what happens with that? You are going to not only be more inclined, meaning you're going to have the energy and the motivation, because the energy that we have, the physical energy, and when we are physically energized, we want to do more things, and the motivation comes from the brain. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's the neuroscience of motivation. And when we keep our word to ourselves, what happens is that the brain releases dopamine. It says, I want more of that chemical. And that not only keeps us like internally motivated and active, but energetically in our chakras, that alone unblocks your chakras. That alone unblocks it, which I think it's so amazing because we have so much information on how to unblock your chakra and read this book and read this other book. But in reality, I think where we have missed the mark is the practical, the experience. We have to literally teach our body what does that information feel like inside of our body. Dopamine equals motivation. Good morning. Thank you for the follow. Exactly. Dopamine equals motivation. So usually when we don't keep our word to ourselves, it's not that we're lazy, it's not that we're bad, it's not that we're procrastinators, it's none of that. Those are all titles that we have given to ourselves. You know why? Because it's easier for me to say I am a procrastinator, I am so lazy, I have no motivation, I have no energy. And if you really break it down, all of that comes from your thoughts. When you're feeling lazy, when you have no motivation, when you are not feeling your best, if you think about it for a second, it's because of what you're thinking. It's because of what you're saying to yourself. So when a woman decides I'm going to give you a clear example. When somebody wants to grow their online business and they know that one of the most important things in growing your online business is knowing the transformation that you offer. right? And a lot of people have trouble here. And I think that they have trouble here because they assume that they're not enough to offer a transformation. And a transformation is just taking someone from A to B. That's all it is, right? That's for another video. So if you say, okay, I am going to post on social media 5 times a week, and then you do it once and you didn't get the results that you want, meaning you are measuring that you did based on external resources or external results, and then you don't do it for the next 4 days, and then at the end of the week you're like, I can't believe it, I didn't do it, this doesn't work, why should I even try? When somebody has a strong sense of self-worth, they also have a strong sense of vision and intention with their life. And I don't know if you know this, but intention has so much to do with success and your vision more than tactics and marketing and matter to matter. I'm not saying that those are not important components, but I am saying that for you to have the energy to have creativity and to have motivation and to market, taking care of how you feel inside is going to give you faster results than if you continue to do it without addressing how you feel. It says, what do you think about the roadmap or the blueprint some people are doing? The roadmap or the blueprint on what? I'm not really sure. So, when someone has a strong sense of self worth, the energy center in the body that is able to release is your root chakra. And listen, this is not about you becoming an expert in chakras or an energy center. It's really basic. Your first energy center is located in the bottom of your spine, and it has to do with moving forward. It's the one that compromises all your lower back, your legs up to, the ground. And it has to do with moving forward. So when you have a strong self of self-worth, right? You not only keep your word to yourself, but you are not measuring your results based on somebody else's opinion, or if you got 100 likes, which by the way, those are vanity metrics on a post or not. And the reason why is because somebody with a strong sense of self-worth is somebody that has a clear vision of their goals. They have long-term goals. And I think that now that everybody is in goal planning season and thinking about how they want their life to look for the next year, this is important to know, right? It doesn't matter if you never, thank you for the love. Thank you so much for the love. It doesn't matter if you never planned out your goals, or if you're somebody that says, I haven't really reached them. Change starts with one thought. The moment that you decide to change, that's when it starts, right? And self-worth has everything to do with imposter syndrome. And I'm going to explain to you why. When our self-worth is okay, first, self-worth comes, I told you, from your upbringing. And a few examples of that is when we had highly critical parents. So when our parents were very judgmental, when they didn't have a strong emotional connection, or emotionally unavailable parents. Listen, I share this for your frontal lobe to be like, okay, I can resonate with it, but for not for you to say, I am this way because of my parents, because I dislike and I am completely against the idea of you thinking that you have to go and heal anything else than yourself. When you heal yourself, you reset trauma in your body. And according to epigenetics, trauma is passed down through your DNA. So you healing will heal a lot, right? But I'm just saying this so that you can become aware of where that lack of self worth is coming and how that converts into imposter syndrome when you are trying to grow your business, right? And imposter syndrome sounds something like, who am I to teach this? Am I qualified? Nothing is going to work. I have tried everything. And even if you know what you have to do, you won't do it because you say things to yourself, why am I even going to try? Or why am I even going to do this if I know the results? And if we peel the onion even more, we know that that goes back to a lack of self worth and not feeling that you are enough, right? Because, like I always say, if somebody was able to do it, then you are able to do it as well. So imposter syndrome, especially like in a coach and a healer, somebody that is dedicated to helping others change and become a new version of themselves, is really strong. Okay. And a few things that I want you to know. The first thing is, when we have self-worth, we act and we have a very clear vision of that person that we want to become, and we align our actions on a daily basis based on the person that we want to become. I'm going to give you an example. If in a woman's business, structure and systems is very important, it's crucial. It also has to do with your money story or with your money chakra. If you wake up every day and you think, oh my God, what do I have to do today? I don't even know what I have to do. What was it the last thing that I did? Forget it. Let me numb on my phone and let me not even do this. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a lack of structure and systems. But you take it, if you have low self worth, as I can't do this. It's so hard. It will never work for me. I have no idea how to do this. I have no idea how to connect with my audience. If I do a live video, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel like people are going to judge me. Who am I to even write about this? The transformation that I offer isn't enough. And you can stay stuck in that cycle forever. When you understand that, wait a minute, okay, this is a lot, has to do with my self-worth and my imposter syndrome, right? Because it shows up in what? Who are you to do this? How can you think you can achieve the goal that you want? Things like that. Aligning the things that you do throughout the day that is in alignment with the person that you want to become takes care of that immediately. It's as simple as that. At the beginning, your body is going to have resistance and it's going to feel like, no, you don't want to do this. Why are you going to do this? This is so hard. You don't understand. You don't get it. Also, I'm going to tell you something which might seem pretty uncommon. If you have no structure to your day and no agenda, you will end up in a self sabotaging loop that will take over and will last a lifetime. I don't know how to do this. I'm always out of alignment. I always start and stop. I am depressed. It is so hard. No one is buying. The whole nine yards. I promise you. That's just, it's like if they were a trio of things that you didn't want: self worth, low self worth, self sabotage, and imposter syndrome. Listen to this. When you take action, even with fear, you are rewiring your brain and you are breaking connections to the past self or the old personality. I think that's so cool. What does that mean? If you are very afraid of doing something, but you know that that is what you have to do, the moment that you do it, since you are releasing dopamine in the brain, next time it's going to be easier and you're going to be more inclined to do it. And this is like a biological process, good morning, that actually takes place in your brain. When you are concentrating on that vision that you want to have, right? On that vision of the future, you are activating different departments in your brain, like your RAS system, your prefrontal cortex, which is the emotional part of the brain. You are releasing energy so you become more creative and more motivated. And one of the ways that you can ask yourself, which is very simple, is am is what I am doing currently and what I am thinking aligned with the vision or the purpose that I have for my life? That's it. And each person can answer that, right? Like everybody has the answer to that. Am I thinking in alignment with who I want to become? And am I acting in alignment with what do I want to achieve? I'm going to give you an even like more broken down example. A lot of healers and coaches have this imposter syndrome of being a good coach or being a good healer, right? I think there's like an erroneous thinking around that. I think that a lot of coaches and healers put this pressure on themselves that they have to be the savior to someone's life, and that's not true. But if for you, if that's one of the thoughts that you have, scheduling in your day a time to enhance your skills on personal development, on coaching, on human psyche, on emotional wounds, getting more knowledge, becoming more knowledgeable in that, it's going to increase your confidence. And when you have an increase in confidence, you have an increase in belief in yourself, and that increases your self worth and decreases imposter syndrome. And this can be done for any business, doesn't matter. because that's what it is. Imposter syndrome is thinking that you are not enough to teach that, or you're not enough to achieve that goal. And if you were to ask yourself throughout the day, are my actions in alignment with who I want to become? And you're very welcome. Thank you for being here and for spending your time, which is your most valuable asset, listening to this. My intention is that you don't feel judged, but more motivated. Like, okay, let me see. It doesn't matter how I was acting yesterday or even an hour ago. I miss your life. Just listening to you, things makes a sense. Oh, thank you so much. I'm back. And my intention is to do a live every day until the end of the year so that you guys start really empowered. And I also started Sanemos Juntas, which is a podcast only in Spanish. I get so many messages every single day. Can you share in Spanish? And you guys know that I started Prospera Mama in Spanish. That was like where I started it. And it was hard for me to combine the English one with the Spanish one. So that is coming right after this live. Um, Listening to you, things make sense. Oh, thank you so much, Judy. That is really just my purpose, right? That's it. And listen, I want you to know something. If you put your intention to it, I promise you that you're not only changing your brain, you're changing your energy. And I guarantee it, I give you my word, that you will be able to finally manifest or attract the things that you want. I promise you, there's nothing else to it. One of my clients, Vanessa, when she started the Neuro Chakra course that I teach this, she was growing her spiritual coaching business, and this woman was doing the work, the energetic work, and I gave them a guide because I'm like a teacher, you guys know that. And every time that she felt that she wasn't acting with a high sense of self worth, she would read it and go back to it. And now she's been able to have 4 clients, which she never had before. And she was sharing with me, like, they came to her. That is a science of manifestation. Anybody can do it. I don't have a magic trick or anything like that, really. It's about changing your energy. And the only way that we change our energy is when we give the body, we allow the body to experience something new, because information isn't enough. If it was enough, you just reading a book or Googling something would be enough for you to change your life. And it's the information in the body, because that sends the signals it is safe, you can create, you are enough, it is presence. That's how it works, okay? So throughout the day, ask yourself, am I acting out of self-worth? And the moment that you start having a doubt, I can't do this, it's so hard, it won't work out for me, do 2 things. The first one is remind yourself that what you think you become. And the second one is remind yourself that a thought is just a thought and you have the power to change that. It doesn't matter what it is. And it goes beyond positive thinking and I'm an introvert. This is so hard for me. Yeah, you got it. You don't even have to say it to anyone. When you realize that those are the thoughts that you're having, you can stop it. There's actually a technique in neuroscience, and I'll share it with you guys. If you realize the thought that you're having and you imagine a red stop sign, that sends the signal to the brain for the brain to change the thought. And why do you want to change your thoughts? Because your thoughts generate chemicals according to that thought in the form of feelings or emotions in the body. And when you have a lot of stress, you have a lot of cortisol and adrenaline. And along with stress comes overwhelm. It comes not clear, brain fog, not thinking clearly. It comes numbness, not dealing with how I feel. Let me scroll on my phone. And I am guilty of that. I don't know if you guys are, but I am guilty of the scrolling on the phone just to numb and not have to deal with how I feel. And that only delays our goals or the things that we want to see in life. So a quick way to get into balance is that, when imposter syndrome shows up, understand it like this. Don't judge it, just understand it like this, because this is the truth of it. Our brain is designed to only keep relevant information that it feels it's vital to us, because the job of the brain is to keep us alive. right? That's why it sends the signals for the heart to beat and for your blood to flow and for you to be able to get up and use the bathroom and for you to be able to talk and to think and to write and to answer a phone call, all of that. So the moment that I am thinking a disempowering thought or that I am faced with imposter syndrome, right, is because I have been accustomed to thinking and feeling the same way. And I have the power to change that because when I imagine that red stop sign, I am sending the command to my brain to stop that thought and I can replace it with a new one. Sometimes we are so addicted to the hormones of stress, especially if we have lived through a lot of trauma that hasn't been processed in the body, that our brain is accustomed to the cortisol, the adrenaline, the fights, the conflict, all of those things that we want to get out of. And people don't realize that it is as addicting as an addiction to a substance. But you, again, you and only you have the power to change that because imagine for a second, how is somebody else going to go into your brain and change that? There are a few things that you can do 100%. Like the way that we connect to our reality is through our senses, what we see, what we think, what we hear, and what we speak. And if all day you are talking about the lack of money, the lack of resources, the lack of love, the lack of community, the lack of empowerment, the lack of friendships, the lack of job opportunities, the lack of whatever it is, that is what you are creating for yourself. And like I tell all my students, you have two options. You can either stay there or change, and change is free. No, what you don't have to, I'm not selling you anything. You don't have to pay anyone to do this. This is all on yourself. And the reward is huge. It's a physical relief and it's an energetic release of energy in your body, right? Where you feel more creative, where you feel more empowered, where you feel motivated. And it starts with your thoughts. And you gain nothing when you are experiencing imposter syndrome. The more you give into it, the bigger it's going to be. And it takes over your brain and your body. It's not, first of all, the amygdala in the brain, which is the fear center, se dispara. It turns on and you're going to get all the worst case scenarios. That's where you're going to focus your attention. You can't even imagine a solution, and that's what you're going to see more of. So, my intention with sharing with you guys this information is really for you to just the first step in healing and awareness, the first step in overcoming something is awareness. So the moment that I know that I am not acting out of self-worth, right? Let's say, let me give you an example. If you are a coach or a healer and you are doubting your healing abilities because the majority of the coaching programs don't really, oh, I'm so glad it resonated with you. Thank you for sharing with me. Don't really teach, like in my personal opinion, very relevant information. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this good or I'm doing this bad. And instead of you empowering yourself, getting a book, doing research, putting your phone off for an hour and, enhancing new neurons in your brain with the information that you want, you sit on the couch and you scroll through Instagram, comparing yourself to all the other healers, which you have no idea how long have they been doing this for. And at the end of the day, you feel worse than how it started. And if that is you, there's no judgment. You can stop it right now, right this moment, right this second, you can stop it. And at the beginning, since the body is used to you doing that, it's going to be like, hello, what is this? Usually, this is the time where you are getting upset or judging yourself, or I really want to reach for that phone, or I really don't want to meditate, or I really don't want to think positive. It's not. It's not that you're doing something wrong. You're actually doing something right. You're doing something different, and the brain's response is to keep you in the same place because when we fear something, even if it's good for us, the brain takes it as, oh my God, something new, something fearful, something that I'm not accustomed to. And it's going to create a little bit of resistance. But you understanding that is as easy as you overcoming it. And try it today just by thinking about the red stop sign. Can you believe that? You're sending the signal to your brain to stop that thought. It's not always going to be hard. It gets easier and easier as you do it. You're teaching your body a new level of energy. You're teaching your body to produce new chemicals. You're teaching your brain to release dopamine. Okay, so before I answer Judy, so are we clear, right? When we have low self-worth, that's going to increase our imposter syndrome. And at some point, we kind of have to come face to face with that, with imposter syndrome, and just be like, the energy that I have given you all my life, I'm taking it back. I can do this. It is working out. Everything I can figure it out. If I need discipline to get confidence in an area, I'm going to do it. You have so many resources, online, Google, YouTube, the whole nine yards. So that is just something. And then here's the thing, confidence is when we increase our self worth and we lower the volume on imposter syndrome. And the cool thing is, confidence is directly related to sales. And it's not something you can buy outside, it's something that you generate from within. And I want to get even a little bit deeper. In the true art or science of manifestation, it's not about you becoming or going over there to get something. It's about you bringing that thing to you. That's what it is. That's why a lot of people get it wrong. They have this misconception of what manifestation is. It's not about you going out there and doing more. That's matter to matter. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be really hard. And when you increase your self-worth, there's a concept that I will never forget in my life. You only receive what you feel worthy of receiving, nothing else. So increasing your self-worth is also going to increase the manifestations in your life. I'm not saying that you have to go and sit and meditate 10 hours or do all of these things. Manage your thoughts, manage them starting now. Make it as a game so that you don't feel it, it's so hard. Yeah, just give it a chance. And you will see, first of all, you're going to feel energetically different. And then you're going to see results in your life that you have never before. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I want this. And then dopamine is going to be released. And then it's just a cool combination of things that happen. And you feel more empowered and you are self confident and you are increasing your sales. It's cool. It's cool to combine neuroscience with energetics. That is the science of motivation. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to become and the more motivated you're going to be. And I'm all for it, right? I'm all for that. Okay, so Judy says, if you watch this back on YouTube, please subscribe. We are 9 subscribers away from 500. And my desire and my wish in my life for 2024 is that I can just teach on YouTube, and that is it. That is my true desire in life. I am also going to be sharing for the next, until we start the new year, tips and tricks that have helped me on starting the new year completely different than how I ended the year. And when I did that, when I started to incorporate that, that was about 3 years ago, my life completely changed. I am not here to sell you anything, and I'm not going to tell you that this is like a from one day to the next. No, but is it worth it? 100%. 100%. It's worth it. And okay, so are we good up to now? I hope we are. Okay, I have a little bit of battery left on my phone. Please remember that after this, I am going to do the live at 11 on TikTok for Sanemos Juntas, which is all in Spanish. It's probably going to be very similar information, but just in Spanish. Judy says, Vanessa, besides putting a bowl with salt under our massage table, what else can I do for protection? So a lot of really good things that you can do is we have energetic cords that we're not even aware that we have. And these energetic cords are when we can't stop thinking about someone or we are carrying someone's burden. And a lot of people call this, oh, I'm an empath. Like I can't be around people with certain energy and I get overwhelmed and I feel completely drained, especially if, hello, Maria, especially if you do like energy work or if you do a lot of coaching or massage work. So One of the best things that you can do for yourself is a quick meditation, because when you meditate, you are moving energy from your first three energy centers into your heart. And what that does is it expands your electromagnetic field. So the field of energy that you are emitting, it's not only protected, but it's expanding. So instead of you getting stuck with someone's energetic cords, you are actually influencing that person with your energy, and it's completely free as well. So you can do that before. And then if you don't have any time, imagining yourself in a bubble that is violet, because violet is the color that transmutes energy all over your body, just like if you were in a little bubble of violet color, also very much helps. I know it seems like, oh, I'm not sure. It does. Remember that we are energy. That's what we're made of. And maybe this is not so normal to talk about all the time, but this is something that's going to become completely normal the more or the higher level of awareness. Yeah, that absolutely works. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this talk about imposter syndrome. But more than enjoyed it, I hope that you guys can put it into practice today. If you want to reach something that you have never reached before, if you want to do something that you have never done before, it starts with you overcoming that imposter syndrome and that lack of self worth. And if you are like in toxic relationships and you're just not living the life that you want, I can guarantee it. I can assure you, I can 100% guarantee that the self worth is not there. It's just not. And you can say it, but if you are not experiencing it and living it, in reality, the energy that you are probably attracting is energy that will be a magnet to someone that has low self worth. And in business, it shows up with you not being able to price or market. So it affects all areas of our life, but you can change it. You can start changing it the moment that you make the decision to do that. That is why a lot of people, when someone is confident, they want to be next to them, or they want to follow them, or they want to talk to them, because that energy feels good. And that's exactly what you want to emit for your relationships, for your parenting, for your business, for your where you work, for your work setting, for things like that. Tomorrow, we're not going to do the live at 10 in the morning. We're going to do it probably at 1 o'clock, which is a time that I will be back. But I hope that you guys can join me. If you want to see the recording, it's going to be on YouTube for the next every day, right? Because I'm just going to film it together like that. I don't have to go back and download it. And then, of course, I'm going to put this on the podcast just so that you guys can listen to it. And remember that you have the power to change your life. That's the most empowering thing you can do for yourself and for those around you. That will influence those around you more than you can imagine. If there's something that you would like for me to touch base on or to talk about in the next few days, let me know. I would love to. Thank you for your messages, for your support on Instagram, for your support on TikTok. I appreciate you guys. You guys know that I love TikTok. It's been my favorite platform since I started. My idea is always that you leave here with something that you can incorporate right away, right this moment, right? And if throughout the day you're conscious of when you're acting out of self-worth, you'll be conscious of it. When you hear that voice in your head, that's your ego, that's the left side of the brain saying, I can't do this, it's so hard, I am this, I am shy, I am embarrassed, I am not capable, whatever it is, you have the power to change that. And you have to believe that, because that's the truth. Nobody can go into your brain and change it. No, thank you, Casey. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and for sharing with me your time, which is your most valuable asset. I hope it was worth it. Thank you for all the new follows and for the comments on TikTok, for the support on the podcast. I love you guys. When I wake up and I see like a new follower, I get so happy. You guys do know this is my dream, and you help me just by being here to make it a reality. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and then I will see you at 11 for Sanemos Juntas, which is completely in Spanish.